Hi, I'm Hailey. This is a quiet space for yarn, rest, and soft things. Welcome and welcome back. In this tutorial, you'll learn how to sew a fabric lining onto anything you want, like a bag or a pouch. You will be needing a fabric for this. Any fabric will do, whether it's plain fabric like what I'm going to use here, or a fabric with a pattern. Then you also need a sharp needle like this and a yarn that is the same color as your project. I will be sewing a lining for this tomato bag. So since the upper part of my bag is pink, I am going to use the same yarn color so that it blends with the bag. You also need a scissors, pins, any pins will do. I prefer this clip-on sewing thingy. I don't know what you call this. And also you can always just use this type of pins, which is like this kind of like sharp pins. And you will also need a pen to draw a line onto the fabric. Oh, also make sure that the fabric you're going to use is big enough for your project. You will need 2 pieces of the fabric, so if it's a big project like this bag right here, you will need a lot of fabric. So make sure that you have enough fabric before moving on to the tutorial. So first, take your fabric and fold it in half. So I'm just gonna like unravel this first. So I have folded the fabric in half. As you can see, it's kind of like really long. It's literally dropping on my floor and I am not even sitting down. I am standing up doing that. So after you have done folding the fabric in half, what you're going to do is you're going to take your project. So basically, I'm going to take my tomato bag. And for this tomato bag, as you can see, I have quite a width for the bag. So to make sure that the fabric really fits inside of the bag, you will have to press down your project like this, so that when we cut our fabric, we also have some extra spaces, some extra fabric for this side of the bag or the width for your bag, or basically anything. So once you have like pressed down like this, I'm just going to like align it. And when aligning it onto your fabric, be sure to leave some space, kind of like this much, maybe about 1 centimeter or 2 centimeters. Then go ahead and take your pen and just trace onto the fabric. Just trace the shape with your pen. Make sure while doing this, you're not drawing it onto your project so that you won't have messy pen marks on it. And let's say your project is in a unique shape like a star, a heart, or anything. It's still going to be the same step. Just trace the shape of your project with your pen. Let's say your fabric is not enough to be folded in half. You can always cut the 2 pieces separately. But when the fabric is folded into, the bottom is in one piece already, so we don't have to sew it. Basically, it's a little less work. And again, I'm going to trace this side. Basically, this is just like a rough sketch of the shape. And for this side, I'm just going to like draw a straight line. So after you have done tracing your project, go ahead and cut along this line. So since my project is in a rectangular shape and it has a straight line, I'm just going to cut across this line but make it like a straight line. So I'm going to start cutting from here. You don't have to worry too much about cutting it because this part is going to be hidden inside of your project anyways. Just slowly cut it into your shape. So once I'm done, I have something like this. If your fabric is not folded in half like this, you will have a separate 2 fabric with the same shape. So if your fabric is not enough to be folded in half, you will have to cut another one and make sure that it is the same size as this piece. Also, for a crochet bag, you will obviously have a strap for your bag. So I prefer to cut a fabric lining for the strap too so that it won't stretch out. So for the strap, it is obviously going to be a little hard for you to trace this shape and decide how long you want to cut your fabric. So for a strap, I recommend that you use a ruler to measure out the width of your strap. So when cutting a fabric lining for the strap, you will also have to leave about 1 to 2 centimeters of extra fabric. So since I have 3.5 centimeters, I will cut about 4.5 centimeters. Now I'm going to use my measurement tape and measure the strap line. So I'm going to start right here and measure out the line. I'm just going to like measure it out roughly because I will hide the fabric lining for the strap inside of the back body. So for my strap, it is about 65 centimeters. So I'm going to make it about the 8 centimeters like that, because you will have to leave an extra length for this strap too, because you want to hide this strap inside of the back later on. So I'm going to set this aside and show you how to cut this strap. So for this strap fabric lining, first, go ahead and measure out the width that you have measured. So for mine, it is 4.5 centimeters. I don't want this part right here. We have kind of like a dotted thing. I'm going to skip this and just measure it out right here. So it's 4.5 centimeters. I'm just going to measure out 70 centimeters just to even it out. So here is 70 centimeters. So I'm going to like mark this. So to make sure that you cut in a straight line from the top right here, you will have to measure out the width from here to here, which is the start of the fabric until the end where you're supposed to cut it. And then just go to this side like this and measure out 7 centimeters again. And you're going to do this all across until you reach the part where you mark for the length of your strap. And I'm going to draw a straight line here. Now all you need to do is just connect all of this line with your ruler. Now just follow this line and cut your fabric. The method to sew the strap and the base is going to be the same step. No matter what you're sewing, it's the same step, just there is an additional step on how to sew the base fabric lining. If you don't have any strap to line, go ahead and skip to the timeline above. Before you move on to the next step, be sure to flip your project inside out. I forgot to do this, and please don't be like me. I'm going to take my bag, and before sewing, you will need your pins. So what you're going to do is you're going to start from this side of your bag. It doesn't matter which side. You can start at anywhere you prefer, and you're going to fold this piece like this. So the reason why we have to do this is because we have kind of like a fuzzy ends all along the fabric, so we will have to hide the fabric by folding it in half like this. I'm going to fold it about like this. Make sure to go over the strap a little bit because we will hide this piece later on with another fabric lining. And then take your clip and just clip this side like this. So I'm going to do this for this side first. And while folding the fabric, make sure that it's straight and just pin it like this. So if you don't have this kind of pins and you're using this kind of pin, which is the sharp type of pin, to secure your fabric, what you're going to do is just fold the fabric like this, and then take your pins and go ahead and just push it through your project like this and go through the front like this. This is how we're going to secure it. So I'm going to do this until I reach the end of my bag right here. So be sure to line the inside of your strap instead of the outside. So once you are done, this is how it should look like for this side. So now what you're going to do is just repeat the same step and line the other side and secure it with pins. Now take one strand of yarn from your yarn and insert it into your darning needle, and we're going to tie a knot at the bottom here. So you can always just tie it normally, but what I usually do is you're going to hold the end of your yarn like this and then wrap the yarn around the yarn needle for 3 times, and then you have this kind of loops wrap around and hold onto all of these loops and then slide it downwards like this. This will create the knot at the bottom. Now as you can see, I have the knots right here. So now what you're going to do is insert your needle through your project like this and pull through. Go ahead and insert your needle through your fabric like this and pull through. And you're going to sew up this piece of fabric first. From the front, just insert your needle and pull through the back. You will sew it in a straight line first. And then from the back, you're just going to insert your needle again and pull through. So this is basically how you're going to sew it. You are only going to use this method of sewing until the top part of the bag, because for the strap, I will show you how to not let any yarn showing from the front. This will make the bag neater, but the method is a little complicated and require a lot of time. So if you prefer this method of sewing, you can continue until the end. So I'm going to stop sewing until here. Now moving on to the next method of sewing. So once you reach this part, what you're going to do is you're going to sew these pieces just the same, but it's going to be a little different. So push your pins to this side like this, and you're going to insert your needle first to the front without inserting it into the fabric like this. You're going to look at the fabric from the side like this. So we're going to sew only through the inside where we fold the fabric, which is basically this two fold piece. So the reason why we do this is because we don't want the stitches to show. Of course, you can always just sew it like this if you prefer this method, but I prefer this other method, which is sewing it from the inside. So you're going to look at the inside of the fabric, which is the one we fold, and go through only through the fold. Wait, like this, and then just pull through. As you can see, the yarn is not showing at the front, and then go through the project like this, and from the back just pull it. So you are basically sewing this piece up, and then from the back you're just going to insert your needle, and again don't go through the fabric, just pull through first and then go through the fabric piece only through the fold and pull through, and then go through your project like this and pull through. And then go ahead and go through this side again, and don't go through the fabric and pull through. And then from the back, you're just going to go through the folded parts and pull through. So as you can see, it is all sewed up. You can't really lift it anymore. So you're going to repeat this step all the way until down here, and once you reach this part, it is going to be the same step as this side, which is sewing it like this. Because for this part, we are going to hide it with another lining, so it's okay if it's a little messy. And then I am going to show you how to fasten off. So once you are done, your needle should be on the outside of your project instead of the inside. So bring your needle and yarn through the outside like this. So we're going to fasten it off on the outside of your bag or any project that you're doing. So to fasten off, you're just going to insert your needle like this, and then grab onto the yarn that is under your needle, and you're going to yarn over the needle about 2 to 3 times. So I'm going to do about 2, and just pull through slowly. Just make sure the yarn is not tangled, so you're going to hold onto the loop and pull. So I'm going to do this again just to make sure that it's really secure. So once you're done, just go ahead and cut your yarn. So once you're done, it's going to look something like this. Now for the base fabric lining, basically this is suitable for bag, pouch, anything that have an opening at the top. You will start sewing the lining before sewing it onto the bag. The step to sew the lining onto your project is the same as how I sew on the strap, so I won't be showing it again. So I decided to change and use 2 ply of this yarn, basically just one strand of yarn. But what I did was I just pulled the yarn until the two ends meet at the bottom like this, and you're just going to tie a knot at the end, just the same step as before. So now this is the piece for the base of my bag. Now what you're going to do with this piece is you're going to sew along the side and the bottom if you have two separate pieces, and the side right here. But you're going to leave the upper side of your fabric lining because this is going to be the opening of your bag. So I'm going to sew this end first. So to sew it, you're going to leave about 1 centimeters or 2 centimeters, but I prefer to just leave 1 centimeters. So you're going to start sewing from here. So from the bag, you're just going to insert your needle and pull through. You're just going to insert your needle from the front, and from the back you're just going to insert it like this. Just insert it kind of like this and pull through. And don't pull too tight because you don't want this to be like crinkled and wrinkly. Then you're just going to repeat the step. So you're just going to repeat the step until you reach the top. And if your fabric is in 2 pieces, which means the bottom is in 2 separate pieces, you will have to start from the top and then go all the way down, then going to this side at the bottom, and then go from here to the top like this. So you don't have to cut your yarn, and it's easy for you to just go around like that. I really hope you know what I mean. So now just go ahead and continue this step until you reach the end, and for mine it is only at the top right here. And when you reach the top, you're going to leave about 2 centimeters or 1 centimeters. Basically, don't sew it all the way until here, just sew it maybe about right here. So I have reached this top part of my fabric. Now I'm going to show you how to fasten off. So I'm just going to like insert my needle so that it's at the front. Now to fasten off, you're going to insert your needle and go through the front like this. As you can see, just a little bit. You don't have to do like this much gap. Just insert it like this and hold onto your needle. Then just tack the yarn from under the needle, and you're going to wrap around your needle like this for about 2 or 3 times. So I'm going to do just 2 times, and then you're going to pull your needle. So you're going to do this slowly, or else your yarn will just get all tangled up. So you're going to do this slowly. This is basically going to tie a knot at the end right here. So you're going to hold onto the loop by pulling it like this, and it's going to look something like this. And take your scissors and cut your yarn. So this is going to be the side of my bag, and now I'm going to do the same thing and sew on this side. So once you are done sewing the fabric lining, what you're going to do is you're going to tag your project. So this is basically the tomato bag for me. So you're going to insert the fabric lining into your project like this, and make sure that this part is on the inside. So once you already put it inside of your bag, you're going to fold this top part just the same as how we did the side. And also you're going to take your pins and just fold this. Now take your pins or sewing clip and just clip it or pin it onto your bag or any of your project. So you're going to fold it like this and clip it onto your bag. It is going to be the same step as how we did the strap. And the side of my bag like this. You can see it covers the side of my bag. And I'm going to pin at the side too like this. So now we're going to repeat the same step for the other side. So once you have lined up all of the fabric, it should look something like this. And also for those who have a big width on the side of your pouches or your bag, like what I have here, you will have to make sure that the side of your lining is on the center of your pouches or on the center of your strap like this. So this is going to make sure that the lining is at the center of your bag. To sew the lining onto your bag, it's the same step as how we sew the strap, just that you will start with the second method, which is sewing the fold onto the bag so that no stitches are visible from the front. So go ahead and just repeat the step. Once you're done sewing, you can always add a snap-on buttons, like the magnetic buttons that people always use for bags. Let me just pull it out and show you how it looks. So this is the buttons that I'm talking about. It's kind of like a magnetic buttons for bag, basically like this. So this will help make sure that anything you put inside of your bag will never fall out. So that's it for today's tutorial and I hope you enjoy it. Thank you for watching and I'll see you again. Bye!